In this video, we are going to talk about Pengu or Pudgy penguins, some of its recent price action, the important support and resistance areas, and where we can expect the price of Pengu to go in the next few days and weeks. So we'll look at the weekly chart, and what we can see right here is that in the last few months, basically since about July of 2025, so for quite a while now, Pengu has only been dumping with no significant recovery whatsoever, and in the last few weeks, it also lost another crucial support area, which is this area at about 0.008. Pengu is now significantly below it, and in the last few days it has been recovering slightly, but in my opinion it is still pretty insignificant. Pengu is still very clearly in a downtrend, and it is not at any significant support area on the chart. The only support area that it is at right now is this one from back in the October liquidation event. Pengu was at this level for literally only a few minutes before it recovered all the way back up very quickly. So it is possible for Pengu to get a bit of a rally from here, but I think that it will not be very sustainable, and in the long term it does seem a lot more likely that Pengu will just continue bleeding, in my opinion, until it reaches this next support area, which is basically the all-time low. This is an area that Pengu got a very significant rally from twice in the past, and this seems like a much more significant support area than where it is at right now. In general, I do think that there is a very good likelihood of Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market actually doing quite well in the next few weeks, since Bitcoin has dumped quite a lot since its all-time high, over 50% from its all-time high all the way down to the bottom at about 60k, and Bitcoin does seem relatively cheap at the moment, so I do think that there is a pretty strong chance that Bitcoin does get a significant relief rally sometime pretty soon. But even if that does happen, it certainly does not guarantee that Pengu will get a significant rally as well, and it could just continue bleeding despite Bitcoin doing well. So I think that a very significant rally by Bitcoin followed by a bit of an alt season maybe is really the only hope for Pengu at the moment, and I think that in the long term it will most likely just continue bleeding and approach this support area at the all-time low. And until that happens, I don't think that there are any very convincing reasons to think that Pengu is going to do very well. Of course, this isn't financial advice whatsoever, but at the moment I would definitely avoid holding Pengu. In general, I don't think that it's the best time in the world to be heavy into altcoins. I do think that some of them will perform well if we do see a recovery by Bitcoin. It could lead to some altcoins doing very well, but as I said, the structure for Pengu specifically is not looking that great, and I generally think that most altcoins will underperform Bitcoin, even if it does get a significant rally. What would actually change my outlook on Pengu is if it breaks the downtrending structure. If it breaks above this local high from January at about 0.013, then this would be a first sign that the structure is actually reversing, but it would need to significantly cross above it, because this is also a pretty significant resistance area with this high as well as this high just slightly above it from back in May of 2025. If it does cross above both of these levels, I would say at least above 0.015, then that would definitely be a confirmation of a trend reversal for Pengu and could potentially lead to a very significant rally. But until that happens, this would already be more than a 2x from where Pengu is at right now, since Pengu is such a small market cap meme coin and it's so volatile. Even a pretty small price movement like this that would just mark the beginning of a trend reversal would already be more than a 2x and a very significant price movement. So as I said, at the moment, I would not get into Pengu. I would perhaps consider getting into it if it does break above this level, as I said, or the more likely outcome, in my opinion, is that it continues bleeding and approaches this support area and starts reacting to it and maybe starts getting a trend reversal from there. That seems to be the more likely outcome, in my opinion, and if that does happen, then the potential for a rally for Pengu is a lot more significant, especially if it comes together with Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoin market doing quite well. But if Bitcoin just eventually continues into the bear market and we don't see Bitcoin approaching new all-time highs until at least 2027, then in the long term, Pengu will likely just continue bleeding and probably even create new all-time lows, even breaking down below this current all-time low that I talked about. And really for Pengu holders, the last few months since July has been absolutely devastating, with it dropping from more than 4 cents all the way down to less than a cent right now, and it's not looking like it is going to get any better, in my opinion. Again, not financial advice, and take everything I say with a grain of salt, but that's just my opinion at the moment. That's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it and you want more updates about Pengu, as well as other meme coins and altcoins, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.